This week, Bells Hells enact a plan that Scanlan would be proud of, and we learn more about the Apogee Solstice. Hi everyone, my name is Luna, and please pray for me as I try to recap the events of this episode. Taliesin is out sick again. I think they probably filmed both of these episodes, episode 43 and 44, quite close together, which would give them an extended kind of Christmas break, so hopefully we'll see him again next episode. We pick up with the party hiding in Ebonalt, Kaya's basement, following their return from the elemental plane of fire. There are figures above them searching for them, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to get out of this situation.
What if they just want to talk?
They don't want to talk.
Everyone needs to talk. It can help your insides and your outsides.
To give them time to think, Laudna uses her immovable rod to hold the door closed, and they hear people above talking.
I don't hear anything. Not upstairs, at least, though. You sure you saw these people enter, right? Well, it's what it says it saw.
Imogen uses her mind-reading powers and senses 4 presences above them. Laudna sends Pate to do some recon, and using shape change, he transforms into a spider and skitters under the door. A spider with a skull head, though, we've got to be clear. Looking through Pate's eyes, Laudna can see a half-elven man, thin, with thin, dark hair, and a handlebar mustache, wearing grey and red robes. He is searching through the kitchen. Pate also then sees a hulking figure of swirling wind and air, an elemental. An elemental is a large creature which has a lot of mobility. It has a speed of 90 feet, and it can also move through any opening that is as narrow as 1 inch wide. They also have a whirlwind ability, which they can use to fling creatures across the room if they fail a strength save. This air elemental appears to be functioning as kind of like a hound.
Smell them, then find them.
As it is moving around the room, Pate, who's just this little spider, gets swept up in and is swirling around inside it.
Pate is grasping the side of the table best he can, his little spider body.
Before 6 legs in the air.
And gets whipped up into the whirlwind and is just like swirling around inside. Just...
The air elemental begins to hover at the front of the secret door because Laudna and Imogen did a really poor stealth check, and so the party are panicking, trying to work out what to do.
We all just start fighting.
Wait, what?
That would make them uncomfortable and they would leave.
And we just act like we were glad to see them, that they've uncovered some crazy orgy.
I'm gonna be totally honest, I don't really know how to go about recapping this part of the episode. Okay, so the air elemental apparates in front of the door and Matt has all of them roll initiative, but instead of them going into a combat... I can't believe I'm saying this. The air elemental witnesses Bells Hells in various states of undress, attempting to film, fantasy version of filming, some adult content.
I pull out the trashy scryball, and I toss it to FCG, and I say...
Oh my god.
Don't do it. We have to hurry. We're late for our session.
What? What does that even mean?
I don't know, but I'm gonna roll with it.
Yes, and
Just webcamming a bit. It's
I'm
great.
gonna hold it and aim it towards her. And shine the lights on her.
For her only heroes? Okay, go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll deception check.
That's right, Bells Hells have decided to stage an orgy, pretending that they're having a private party downstairs.
Our son will see this one day.
Don't say that.
The air elemental apparates into the center of the room and they just keep up the charade. The people on the other side of the door start to break it down, and eventually that half-elven man, who we later learn his name is Taldus, he steps through and just beholds this scene. But the party, they continue to commit to the bit, with Aram pretending to be the bouncer and saying, like, you can't come in here, this is a private party. Taldus is incredibly suspicious, though, understandably, and refuses to leave.
Who are you? Why are you here?
You can walk, or you can fight.
I didn't put the rules forward, so that's on you.
Mirror image.
Whip out a grasping vine and pull the down the stairs.
Liam drags him down the stairs and attacks him with his sword Seedling, and 2 more people rush in dressed in red and grey, attacking both Chetney and Aram. But even still, Imogen still tries to keep the bit going, being like, oh, Sorry, you caught us in the midst of this. We just thought that the house was empty and nobody was here. She rolls a deception check though, and it is a natural 1. The half-elven man recognizes Imogen's markings on her arms and orders his comrades to attack. And you know what? Thank goodness in a way, because I felt like this scene went on quite long. I think it ended up being about a 30-minute scene of Belle's Hells pretending to have an orgy, and like I thought it was a bit much. However, I do think it is going to go down in history as one of those scenes that is going to get constantly pulled up in clip compilations about the Belle's Hells, and it's probably going to provide much fodder for the fan artists out there and the fanfic writers, so power to you. Anyway, with combat officially underway, Imogen misty steps out behind the door into the kitchen. Laudna activates her form of dread and casts Spider Climb, sort of skittering over the roof to get to the kitchen, and Chetney rushes up the stairs, throwing one of the attackers down as he goes. The elemental attacks Imogen, but misses both attacks, and then Fern...
I'm just gonna start wiggling, and I'm gonna turn myself into a Clydesdale.
Clydesdale?
An interior Clydesdale.
That's
the best
a
kind.
massive animal.
Just the idea of this giant horse in this very small basement is so funny. And then Fern does this trampling charge where she tramples up the stairs and then ends her turn directly in front of the doorway, essentially blocking the door, leaving FCG and Aram trapped in there with no exit.
I didn't fully think this through.
FCG casts command, makes Taldus give commands. He fails his save and starts commanding the others to just go forth and do a thing, like, without any real clear instruction, and kind of confuses them. Aram attacks one of the other people, who is an unnamed rogue, pulling FCG up the stairs with a bait and switch. The rogue attacks back, but also uses an action surge, which means that they have multi-class as both a rogue and a fighter. I always think it's really interesting how Matt uses a lot of NPCs that seem to be built as characters rather than using a stat block. I think it's a really interesting way to approach it, and I kind of have wondered about his decision-making process in terms of, like, when he's just going to use, like, a stand-up stat block, like a bandit stat block or something like that, and when he decides to actually build a character that has like a character class. The third attacker, a ranger, gets a hit on FCG and Aram, and Imogen twins a psychic lance to both the mage and the air elemental. Laudna grabs her removable rod, thank goodness, which means the door is now sort of more free to open, and Chetney uses Lord Esteros' scythe, Turmoil.
Pull out Turmoil.
Ooh.
And whisper, or not whisper, done, and it extends into the scythe.
Ooh, cool.
I'll drag it up. I'll drag it up me calf. And you see ice. I'm sorry, fire. Come off of the sickle with my bonus action.
Taldus the mage breaks free of FCG's command spell and Misty steps out into the kitchen, and then Fern, as this giant warhorse, slams through, charging directly into the kitchen, but she slams into Chetney.
Total of
22.
22. You rolled a 23.
Punch that horse.
So you
face.
are resisting the horse now.
How do you want to shoot?
Yeah, it comes up. It comes right forward. I just.
Just headbutt the horse. There's a heavy sound of cracking stone on stone, bone on bone, this heavy, sickening impact. And immediately you see this werewolf and this Clydesdale just dazed in the middle of the kitchen.
I really enjoy these new camera angles that we're getting for Critical Role. I think this is the first week that we've seen this. It really reminds me a lot of how Dimension 20 approach their battle maps for their shows, because they film all of their stuff ahead of time, and then afterwards in the post-production, they will refilm all of the battle map scenes with somebody moving around the minis so that you can get these really beautiful close-up shots. So that looks like it's what we've got here as well for Critical Role, and I wonder if it's going to be a standard feature moving forward. So back to the battle. FCG casts Banishment on the Ranger, who fails and is sent off into a harmless demi-plane somewhere, but they reveal that they're not feeling so good. FCG is getting jittery and accumulating stress points, and oh no, we all remember what happened last time.
Why don't you shut your mouth?
Then Aram knocks out the rogue.
How do you want to do this?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh, okay, so
Your choice if it's like so then you want to do
no,
this.
I'll slide under the horse's legs, under her legs, come around, whap, to bring her down, just to fap, to bring her down, and then bring it up the pommel of Seedling to bring it down to knock her out, and then hold, seeing that she's out.
And Chetney lays into Taldus.
How do you want to do this?
He jumps over the side and says, "Hold still." And I on the second one, I just stick it in his back and kind of do the. So he's like, ah! Then I pick him up, I look around and go, and throw him back in through the window.
FCG casts Spare the Dying on Taldas the Mage, and the combat is over for now. An interesting little tidbit that we learned during this combat is that Imogen is shadow touched. She has the shadow touched feat. So this means that she is shadow touched, she is fey touched, and she is Ruidus touched or Ruidus born. Imogen's gotta stop touching things.
Be back here in a few minutes to see the aftermath of this insanity.
That did not go well.
Oh, patron saint of Only Crits, hear my call. The YouTube comments have summoned you.
Kiki, never change. Oh, hello again, child. Why have you summoned me today?
Well, I need to ask your advice. Friends and family, they say they've been worried about me, and I need to know, is there such a thing as having too many dice?
Oh, child, heavens no. An empty dice bag demands to be filled. I recommend a steady stream of dice from Only Crits with one of their monthly dice subscriptions. They will send you a new set of mystery dice every month. Or, if you don't like to be surprised, you can peruse their website and pick out your favorite style.
Oh, what's your favorite style?
Personally, I love the transparent ducky dice. Just something about them.
But what if I don't have anywhere to store all of these dice?
Oh, not to worry. They also sell a variety of dice bags, dice trays, and dice towers. Plus, every purchase comes with a free D&D adventure.
Thank you, patron saint of Only Crits.
My pleasure. Oh, don't forget to use the code LUNA at checkout for 12% off your order. Bye-bye now.
You're right there.
I feel like an idiot.
The party try and decide what to do with these two people, and they're panicking because they only have a minute left before the ranger reappears from the banishment spell. So Fern turns into a horse again, this time just kind of like a smaller horse, a regular horse, and Orym drapes the mage over her, and they sort of try and sneak off into the streets of the Endeavor Ring. They head towards the docks to look for an empty warehouse, somewhere private that they can speak to this mage. They find an empty, locked warehouse, so Chetney picks the lock, and they bring the mage inside. However, he manages to cast Misty Step out onto the street, starts to run away, but Imogen also casts Misty Step and successfully casts command on him, telling him to stop, and then they drag him back into the warehouse. This poor guy, he gave it a good shot. The mage says he won't answer any questions, but to get some more info out of him, Laudna casts Bane to give him a reduction on his save so that FCG can use Fast Friends again.
But maybe we could change our ways if we just knew what was going on in the world. You're from... Who do you work for? Who are you?
I am a member of the Ruby Vanguard.
What is Ruby Vanguard? That sounds important. Is
We've
it
not heard this, actually.
No?
Is it a violent organization? A military group?
It is a group that wishes to ensure a better future for all Exandria.
The Ruby Vanguard is not associated with Vasselheim or the Judicators, but right now both groups are working towards the same thing. They're trying to find Ebenold Kai and these texts. Their overarching goals, though, are diametrically opposed, in his words. The Ruby Vanguard wants a fresh start for life, believing that everything is part of this cycle of life of prey and predators, and that this life cycle includes the gods. The Ruby Vanguard plan to release Predathos so that it can consume the gods, leaving humanity or civilization, all peoples, free of their influence and free to make their own choices.
There are many gears in motion to free the chains that have bound every mortal life since the beginning of time on this planet innumerable.
Chains that bind life on this planet?
We walk in the shadows of the supposed creators, and have since the very beginning.
This is indeed diametrically opposed to Vasselheim, which is a deeply, deeply religious city, which is doing anything it can to hide this information and to keep the divinity of the gods sacred. Taldas says that these beliefs about there being this life cycle, all of these beliefs come from a leader, someone who founded these beliefs. The party try and get a name out of him, but he won't budge. However, Imogen casts Detect Thoughts and sees a description of this man.
And you see flashes of an older, handsome, stoic, elfish man with long silver hair.
Yeah.
And then he does later on confirm that it is Ludinus Daleth. So a little refresher on who Ludinus is. He is the current leader of the Cerberus Assembly, which is a collection of powerful mages in the continent of Wildmount, particularly the Dwendalian Empire. And he was one of the Cerberus Assembly's founding members, which was in, I think, 570 post-Divergence, which is about 270 years before the events of Campaign 3. In Campaign 2, so some spoilers ahead, Ludinus obtained 2 Luxon beacons, which are these powerful religious artifacts, but they're also very magical and they have some really crazy and cool powers. He obtained those through clandestine means from the Kryn dynasty. This actually set off a war between the Dwendalian Empire and the Kryn dynasty, which the Mighty Nine got quite involved in. Ludinus orchestrated experiments on the Luxon beacons, which resulted in the Dunamancy potions, which we have seen being smuggled throughout Campaign 3, and it's likely that these potions have been used to augment or enhance soldiers, such as we saw Odahan Thul using powers which were probably derived from Dunamancy potions. When the Mighty Nine discovered his role in this series of events and exposed it, he actually orchestrated a cover-up quite quickly, and he managed to save his own skin, and he is still the leader of the Cerberus Assembly. Caleb and Bo, Liam and Marisha's characters, continue to investigate and keep an eye on Ludinus and the Cerberus Assembly post-Campaign 2, so I actually really wonder if we're going to see a cameo from them at some point in this campaign. It would make a lot of sense if they're keeping a close eye on Ludinus that they might be aware of these activities. Ludinus is apparently very busy in the lead up to the solstice, not surprisingly. It's only just over a week away, and he has been handling keys, which we learn are called Malleus keys. These keys are the machines that we know Ira was working on and we saw in the Callaway layaway. Malleus is a really interesting word to use in this situation because I looked it up, and Malleus is a bone in your ear that transmits vibrations so that, you can hear things. I don't know if it's related at all, but it could be that these devices are taking sort of vibrations of the ley lines and using those, or vibrations of like the arcane energy that will be provided by all of the Ruidusborn who are being drawn to the Nexus site and Hellcatch Valley. The party asked Taldas a few questions about like, what is going to happen to everything if the gods are gone? Like, a lot of stuff is going to be gone and different, and he sort of doesn't really have any answers. He just has like a smug, well, we'll find out kind of attitude. But Aram does ask specifically, what were your people doing in Zephyra? And he looks like a little confused, and Aram rolls an insight check, I think of 22 or thereabouts, and gets a whisper. And I wish we had a whisper cam. I wish we had some way of knowing what Matt whispers to them when they do these little moments. It could just be that he found out that, he was being genuine and genuinely didn't know anything, but I like to think that there's more. There's something there. The party discuss what to do with him because they're worried about leaving him alive. However, I think for some of the party members, not necessarily all of them, looking at you, Chetney, it feels like a bit of a line to cross to just kill someone in cold blood like that. So in the end, they decide to contact Plane Rider Rin to see if the Grim Verity would like to take him. So Imogen sends Plane Rider Rin a message.
We've captured a member of the Ruby Vanguard. Do you want him? If so, come and get him. Otherwise, we'll end it.
Oh, interesting. No, please, yes. That would be quite helpful. Where are you?
Hello, faded brick warehouse on the east, in the Endeavor Ring by the blue.
Faded brick by the blue
lighthouse.
Oh, fantastic. Just a moment. I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's so cool.
So great.
Oh, what? What?
Oh,
Come on, round that plane.
Wait.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Hello?
Oh.
It's Rin. Open the door. I'm messing with you. Jeez.
That's a good idea.
As soon as she arrives in such a flamboyant style, absolutely amazing. She charms Taldas like immediately. He's like completely under her thumb. It does seem though that he has given up most of the information that he already told Bells Hells, but she's still going to take him away, for questioning. They ask Rin if she can send them to the Shadowfell because they're going to try and sabotage or destroy the Malleus key that is there because apparently it is the least guarded, and she agrees. So they take a short rest so that Imogen can get back some sorcery points so that she can send a message to Ashton to meet up with them before they go to the Shadowfell.
Shit is going down. Where in the hell are you? We need to meet up. Stat. We gotta leave town. Stat!
The spell finds its hook in the mind of Ashton Greymore, and the response is where we'll pick up on the next session. Because then he can respond and we can pick up from whatever he's been off to at the time.
It really feels like we are hurtling towards the solstice now, which feels very much like an end game event. And I mean, hopefully we're not anywhere near the end of the game. It makes me wonder if we're going to see Ludinus succeed in this plot, and then Predathos is going to be released, and Bell's Hells are going to have to like try and put him back in the box, essentially. And I'm still convinced that we're going to end up on the moon. So when is that going to happen? Is that going to happen before the solstice? Is it going to happen after the solstice? Anyway, as always, let me know your theories because you always have so many. And that brings us to theory time. I've actually got two theories that I want to talk about this week. The first one is that the Tishtan, which were the mysterious people mentioned last week that had built these sites like this Nexus site and then disappeared without a trace, that the Tishtan were potentially on the part of Exandria when it was taken up and used to form the prison. And so the Tishtan are the people who are now living on the moon. Maybe they're not like weird, twisted, scary moon people. Like maybe they're just people living there because they don't have anywhere else to live. And like maybe it's not a great place to live, and so they want to get out of this prison as well, and they could potentially be allies if Bell's Hells, when Bell's Hells go to the moon. And this other theory that I saw that popped up a few times in the comments is that Vordo, the god of fate that was consumed by Predathos, is connected to or is the Luxon. So the Luxon beacons and the magic that is derived from them and used in the Kryn dynasty where the Luxon is worshipped deals a lot with fate. It's all about changing timelines, changing chance. Like you have these motes of possibility when you drink a Dunamancy potion where you can change it to a new timeline, essentially. That would absolutely totally make sense for a god of fate. And the Luxon is sort of still this quite mysterious deity that doesn't really fit in with the prime deities or the betrayer gods. We don't really know much else about it. So it could be that these Luxon beacons are relics of this old god who is gone now, and the Kryn dynasty have developed this mythology around them based on those artifacts. I think that that is such a cool theory. I'm totally here for it. I love being such a nerd. I love having so many nerds like you to talk with about it. So good. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my patrons and YouTube members, and a special welcome to new supporters, Mr. Muffin and Entropy. If you'd like to support the channel and help me reach my goal of making this my full-time gig by the end of the year, you can do so by signing up at patreon.com/LouBuffin, where you'll get a ton of behind-the-scenes extra goodies. And if you've made it this far, don't forget to like and leave a comment and subscribe and all those good YouTube things, because it really does help a lot. Bye!
I could use my tongue.
No!
It's not canon.
What is this?
Don't
I
touch
don't
it.
like how it feels at all.
Don't touch it.
I can use my tongue because I don't have any reproductive organs.
Or if
Just
people
use
are
one of your
feeling
attachments.
apprehensive, we can just fight each other. We can just attack each other.
Would you rather
need
me
to make
use
you-
the buzzsaw, the hammer?
I thought you had like special attachments.
Oh.
We need to make you an
Those.
attachment.